Sam Gitai, and Eric Aganya. We are still talking about Group E, where we've got Senegal, Zimbabwe, Guinea, and Malawi. Zimbabwe, do they have a chance also in this group?
I think they do. But then you're looking at Guinea also, because they are also a strong nation.
Yeah.
And they've got two guys that will definitely lead the team in Naby Keita. You talk about the RB Leipzig man in Alex Moriba.
Yeah.
Zimbabwe, I don't know whether they're going to build up from the 2019 tournament, though they pretty looked bad in that competition. They've still got some really good names. The Knowledge Musonas, they still got the player from Aston Villa. I think they're going to be an interesting team, but it's going to be hard getting out of that.
For Zimbabwe, actually the only team coming from the southern region of Africa to play in this group, but Malawi, we don't give them a chance.
No, I don't think so. I have to agree with Sammy here. The favorites in that Senegal and Guinea.
Yeah.
Maybe Zimbabwe, but Senegal and Guinea definitely.
Senegal outright I will be making on to the knockout stages of the Africa Cup of Nations. But Senegal, I supported them in the 2019 edition, but I have a big feeling a shockwave on the way.
You have a feeling, but I think this is their golden generation. If they don't take it now, they forget about it.
Yeah, and it's interesting, as I mentioned, you're going to be looking at that one player, Boulaye Dia, who plays for Villarreal. I've watched him a few games in La Liga, and he's a pretty good goal scorer. So if he gets the right kind of assist from Sadio Mane on the wings, I think he's going to maybe even bag top scorers here.
What about Ismail Sarr of Watford?
Yeah, there was an issue with him in Watford, and it's the same situation also with Emmanuel Dennis, who also comes in from Watford, plays in for Nigeria. So for Ismail Sarr, he had an injury, of course, but then Watford, they didn't allow him to get into the team, into the Senegal team. But it's understood with lots of pressure, they have released the man, and Senegal's plan is to try and use him when they get into the round of 16, because they definitely look like they're going to get there, and having a fully fit, fully healthy Ismail Assar at those period of time, then they're going to be at least in contention to win the title with him.
According to bookmakers, actually, they are saying that this time round, they are predicting that Senegal and Algeria might be meeting way before the final.
Maybe in the semis.
Way before.
Well, I guess it depends with the permutations, because one has to finish second and the other has to finish first. But if they do meet, I think it's going to be a game that we say that probably should have seen this in the final, but it will be interesting to see how they clash again, because they've had these clashes and Algeria has always come out tops.
Yeah, and someone will be going home at the first. Let's go on and look at Group C, which for me looks like a group of death there for this one, but it is debatable also, because we've got Morocco there, we've got Ghana, they are the Black Elephants of Ghana, are there, Comoros, and then Gabon is in that group. What do you make of Group C?
Well, I look at it and think that Morocco will be the favorites, because as even Eric mentioned, he's placing them as the two top favorites to win the cup. They have a very good manager, Lazidovic. I can't remember the full name, but he's done an impressive job. You talk about him qualifying even for the World Cup with Algeria.
Yes.
And now with Morocco, you're looking at some of the big decisions he's already made coming into the AFCON. He has dropped Hakim Ziyech, for reasons best known to him, and he also dropped Nouri, who plays in for Ajax. So you're looking at the squad and you feel like they have a really good team, especially with the forwards. Yusuf and Nesiri, and then you've got the other player who also plays for Sevilla. They look like a really interesting team. And also Ilias Chair, he's been a man I've really hyped on Facebook, because he plays for QPR and he has some really wonderful assists, playing in on the left-hand side. They've got a studded team that can definitely push on the heights. And you're looking at Morocco in terms of identity. They're the best defensive team in the Africa Cup of Nations. Roman Saiz is part of the team. Massina is part of the team. I think they're going to be a team that will definitely win this group. But then looking at the other teams, you talk about Ghana and Gabon, Thomas Partey versus Aubameyang, it's going to be interesting for Arsenal.
The question is, with all these preparations that Morocco has done, will they be forgetting what will happen on the field of play?
No, they will not. I think if you look at the preparations, it shows you how serious they are.
They are in that space.
They're in that space
The
that
mood
they're
of
not
the
taking
game.
anything for chance.
Yeah.
They are covering all the loopholes. And even if it means meals will bring a problem, let us carry our own. We don't want cases of food poisoning. We don't want cases of COVID coming in to interrupt the tournament. So it means that they've already prepared on the field. And as he has said, you find that they're very complete side.
Yeah.
And the ruthlessness in their squad will be a key factor in them progressing to the later stages of the tournament. I think that group is tricky because we have Gabon also, and we have Ghana that is coming in, Ghana that is rebuilding, and Ghana, it will depend on the fitness levels of the likes of Partey. If Partey is on top of his game, then they are good to go.
I have a feeling the two Ayu brothers have been failing Ghana, and if they trust them again for this tournament, it will be the same case again.
Well, why do you feel so though?
all the season, yes, their dad was one of the best players Ghana ever produced. They joined in the full steps, and all the time when they play for Ghana, they don't perform to the highest levels.
I think sometimes they eat off their father's name. And they get chances because of the name. And maybe there were other players who could have come in and done better, or who are in form. But I think when they are on form, they are really good.
Yes.
They are really good when they're on form. They are really good, and they bring flair to the whole football fraternity, and they can really perform.
Thomas Partey, he reminds me of the Ghanaian player in the 2010 World Cup called Anthony. There's a Ghanaian midfielder in the 2010 World Cup who is actually even scouted by Manchester United. It was called Anthony there, and he was in that midfield with the ACN, and they were good. Do you think Thomas Partey will marshal this midfield better than Michael Essien?
Wow, okay, that's a big statement. That's a big statement, because even you look at what he's done for Arsenal, yet you would say that with injuries impacting him, he hasn't really hit the straps as many would have expected him to do. I really loved how he managed at Atletico Madrid. He looked like a pretty solid player. But even talking about those players that are going to maybe fill the midfield together, we have this young player who plays for Ajax called Mohamed Kudus. I think he's going to be an interesting player. He has had a few injuries into the team and he's been replaced, but now he's coming back and he's pretty fit. So if at all Ghana are going to make it, then they have to rely on these two players. And Andre Ayew, again, is a really good player in my books, because you're looking at the process that he's gone through, even together with Jordan Ayew, getting through those under 19s and under 20s and coming back to where he is. Actually, the last game where Crystal Palace played against West Ham, Jordan Ayew was their best player in that game, and his movement was really interesting. So Ghana will be looked at, and those players that we do expect them to perform, they should be at their A game.
We've got also Daniel Amate of Leicester City also coming there. We've got Baba Rahman of Reading and Andy Yadom. We'll see how they'll be coming to show that or not, because they also a team that is expected actually to perform in the Africa Cup of Nations. A lot is being said about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang of Gabon, but make no mistake, when he's good, and he can perform for Gabon.
Remove his side shows and his issues off the field. On that pitch, he's a great finisher. He's a great finisher. And if he can put his mind on it, then he'll be able to lift his country up. And I want to believe he has a lot of love for his country.
Yes.
Because even he has gotten in a lot of trouble with his club because of choosing country over the club. So if he had COVID issues, he still has COVID issues.
I don't think he's going to play the first game.
He went partying in Dubai. So if when he will be, and then he has a lot to prove. Bearing in mind that he's been sidelined at the Arsenal first team, he has a lot to prove.
But then also, I don't know whether I'm going to give them much of a chance, because when you look at that team, probably apart from Aubameyang, the other player that maybe many people know is the Brighton player, and we haven't seen him play so much for Brighton. So I don't know whether lacking a support cast is gonna maybe
that will be also
affect the performance of the team.
Comoros making their debut in the Africa Cup of Nations. Will it be a fire, baptism by fire?
Not really, because we saw them in the qualifiers. They were really a shocking nation. I guess we're in the same group with Comoros.
Yeah.
And they did play well. They had a few shocks in there. You know, they took it to the big boys. So we can give them an outside chance, but some of the teams here will be some whipping boys. So not a chance.
They'll be whipped by Morocco. They'll be whipped by Ghana.
Yeah, some of them will.
Yes.
Are just there to fill up the spots. So we understand, and it's a good thing for such a country, the small population getting into the AFCON. It does help their national pride, but sorry, they're going to get out of the group.
Big one there when we look at the Africa Cup of Nations. Group D is also here, and we've got Nigeria, Egypt, Sudan, Guinea-Bissau. 3 teams there, Nigeria, Egypt, Sudan, who have actually won the Africa Cup of Nations. Egypt winning it more times. Nigeria, the last time they won was with the late Stephen Nkeshi.
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah, in 2013. But now they also have new players, new coach. What are they going to do in this Africa Cup of Nations? By the way, that match between Nigeria and Egypt will be one crack of a match.
That will be a good game.
It's the opening.
It's the opening game, bearing in mind
the group.
They'll test. You go against a very strong opponent. I think that will show us how strong these teams are, both of them, and where they will progress up to in the later stages, because the level of that game will be a very big determining factor. But I like the ruthlessness of the Egyptians. Egyptians are very effective, just like the Germans. They're very effective. They go there, they do their business.
Specialists in Africa Cup of Nations, I think they record 7-time champion, Egypt, that I've heard. But this time round, when it comes to the Africa Cup of Nations, they are not only relying on homegrown players, because most of the time when they win the Africa Cup of Nations, it has been they use their own players at home. But this time round, they've got Salah up front. They've got the likes of El Neni coming on to that midfield. So that blend between European-based players and the local-based players makes them also the tip of the spear in that group.
Yeah, and it's not only Mohamed Salah, but even Mustafa Mohamed has been one of the hottest strikers playing in the Turkish league, plays for Galatasaray. He looks like a really interesting player. And also, when you talk about even some of the legends coming through, you remember Essam El Hadari, goalkeeper. Right now, he's the goalkeeping coach for that team. He's doing a lot to help Mohamed El Shanawi in goal, plays for Al Ahly. They're going to be a team that you definitely look at. But then there's been questions about, are they really ready for it? Because you look back at what happened in 2019, they were completely dominated by South Africa in that game. And you think about those kind of long balls that are played in there, I think they do look vulnerable at times. Outside all the 4 nations that you've talked about in North Africa, I think
they're the weakest. I did say that.
Nobody expects that coming, because everybody's looking at Mo Salah and saying that
Egypt is good.
But look at the team in totality. When you look at the team in totality, they are vulnerable defense-wise, especially when they go against very quick attackers, and the long balls they are not able to handle. So that will be a challenge to them.
Wow. So Nigeria in this group and Guinea-Bissau, if Egypt loses to Nigeria, just mathematical permutations, I'm not a psychic, just looking at it and seeing, if one of them loses, there's a big chance it will end up in position 3. But let's look also at Nigeria. They are not a bad squad. They are a good team also in the tournament.
Yeah, they have brought in some good players, but the likes of Igalo got an injury, I think.
There was an issue with the team, Al-Shabaab, in that they delivered the letter late, and so he wasn't released.
They had this kid from the 2019 tournament. He plays for Villarreal. Samuel Chukwueze in that team will be in the forward line alongside Kelechi Iheanacho. Then you've got, I think it's Ndindi in that midfield. They seem to be a pretty shocking team. People don't realize about that.
People have not, you see, for the past few years, they have not been in the limelight, but they have been rebuilding. So they may be the surprise package of this African Cup of Nations if they can take their job seriously, because they have what it takes. They have quality that so many people are not looking at, or so many people are not seeing, because they've been overshadowed by the likes of Salah, the likes of Mane. You see, those who play for the big teams in Europe. So nobody's looking at Ndindi. Everybody's underestimating, but you look at the kind of midfield play that Ndindi plays, he breaks up play, and he's second maybe to Kante in terms of breaking up play and pushing the play forward. So they'll give people a run for them.
They also have some good European players there. Ekong of Watford is also in the team. Ajay West Brom. It's a team that Onyeka from Brentford also.
Yeah, he's called Frank the Tank.
Yes.
And for a reason. And you look at that midfield, it scares you to death. Because when you've got, I know Alex Iwobi has somehow dropped down at Everton, he's still part of the team. And you talk about Wilfred Ndidi, you talk about the Frank Onyeka that you've talked about.
Yes.
And one man that I think will have a really interesting kind of an AFCON tournament will be Joe Aribo. Because many of the guys haven't been looking at him at Rangers. He's been a force. Some sort of an engine in that team. You look back at what they achieved with Steven Gerrard and even what he's doing right now with the team. He's a pretty good player. And again, Kelechi Iheanacho and Francis Uzoho, who is a goalkeeper, they have all come through the under-19. So again, you talk about the progression into pro level coming in from those youth competitions. And again, the top-heavy kind of football that they have, when you talk about the strikers that they have, Emmanuel Dennis, he hasn't come into the team. He was blocked by Watford and he decided to stay. And then you've got Victor Osimhen from Napoli, who had an eye injury, he didn't come through. Paul Anuachu from KRC Gang didn't come through. Those are three interesting players that have missed out, including also Odion Ogalo. But they still got a wonderful team, including Samuel Chukwueze. They've got Chidera Ejuke. I think he's going to be one of the standout players coming in from this AFCON tournament. He plays for CSKA Moscow. He has been played as a number 10 in there, and it's understood that probably he'll get his chance. Alongside Kelechi Iheanacho that you've mentioned, I think they're going to be an interesting team in terms of goal scoring. They are the heaviest attack in the AFCON tournament this year.
Well, a big one there for Nigeria, and we might see them, big chance of Nigeria making on to the semi-finals. But now when we look at this group, we'll be making on to the third between Sudan and Guinea-Bissau.
Tough.
Tough. Selecting that one.
It will be tough, but I think maybe Guinea-Bissau. I'll give it to Guinea-Bissau.
But then I don't think it does matter because these two look like they will just run away the group. And looking at some other groups where we've had tight duds, maybe they might not even fail. They might fail to qualify into the next round.
But a big possibility is if one of the two between Nigeria and Egypt loses the first match, there's a big possibility that one of them might finish third in the group.
Well, but the good thing is that having it at the first time, it's going to put in some pressure because they're going to play the next two games seriously.
Big matches that we'll be going to be seeing there. Let's go on to Group E, where we've got Algeria, Sierra Leone, Equatorial Guinea, and the Elephants of Ivory Coast coming on to that group. It's a group that looks like Algeria and Ivory Coast are going away with it, but Equatorial Guinea is also another team that you cannot do away with. Talk of Algeria. It's a team that defending champions coming on to the tournament, they expected to defend it.
They expected to defend it, and they're serious contenders.
Yes.
They are serious contenders. As we said, if you look at the North Africa teams, they come to these tournaments with the seriousness it deserves. And I'm expecting them to go toe-to-toe with Ivory Coast in that group. Because if you look at also the squad that Ivory Coast has, they have Pepe, they have Zaha in the attack. They have Kassé.
Frank Casey.
Frank Casey, they have Bailey in the defense. They have a pretty good team. And I'll look at the two teams, Algeria and Ivory Coast, pushing it into the latter stages of the tournament.
You look at the players that Algeria has, it also scares you. Riyad Mahrez is in the team. Said Benrahma is in that team. And then you've got Ismail Banessa, who was named the player of the tournament in the 2019 tournament, coming on to this team. It is a team that you expect, come what may, they are in the quarterfinals, heading on to the semis.
And you look at their unbeaten run. They are on a 34-match unbeaten run. And I remember when you were talking about the qualifiers some time back, I hyped them a lot. At that time, saying how good they're going to perform in the World Cup because I've already put them into the World Cup. I know they've got a group of of playoffs coming up, but they look like a really complete team. And Jamel Ben-Madi, a local coach again, doing an interesting job in there. The set of discipline. Remember the last time I was talking about it on a light note. We had Riyad Mahrez and Said Benrahma with blonde hair.
Yes.
And when they went back to Algeria, they were told to get rid of it and to get back into their own tradition. They're a really interesting team.
Yeah.
And you look at even the quality they've got, even in terms of experience. Rais Mboli and one of the players, I think it's Ismail Slimani, I'm not really sure who he is, but Ryan Mboli is around 32 years of age, and the midfielder is 35. These guys are getting into their fifth AFCON tournament. They definitely know their ways around it, and they're going to lead these guys into it. So you're looking at how they demolish teams. Even in the friendlies, they beat Ghana 3-0. They are a serious team, and when they turn on their screws, they're going to be a team that runs over everyone.
Well, Ivory Coast is another team that is actually in the tournament also. The last time they won the tournament was in 2015, and it took them a long time since 1992 when they actually won this tournament. But this time around, what difference can they do to actually make it out of this group? Because the name can be there, but making out of the group can also be a tricky one. Do you give them a chance?
Of making out of the group?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, they will. They will, together with Algeria, they will. Maybe they may finish second, second to Algeria. And they're likely to move even into the semis. Into the semis.
You know, because you remember the last time they lost on penalties.
Yes.
And you're looking at the squad right now, there's a slight difference. Now they've got a target man in Sebastian Haller. You're talking about one of the players that has really impressed in the UEFA Champions League is the top scorer. But then one standout player again that I'm going to mention, Ibrahima Sangare in the middle of the park, plays for PSV.
Yes.
They say that he's the closest thing that you've seen to a really wonderful midfielder. So he's going to be one key guy that they're going to rely on, including the Zahas that you mentioned in there. They're going to be a team to watch.
It's also a very team that has EPL on their side. It's a team that is coming with the Premier League experience. Eric Bailey will be marshalling that defense. Bowley from Wolves is there. We've got Seri, who plays for Fulham, Maxwell Comet, Burnley, Pepe, Arsenal, Zaha, Crystal Palace, just to number a few. They are a team to watch, and it just tells me that we might be having a very bit of an EPL league going on in Africa Cup of Nations.
Yeah, and that's why you see my opening statement about Africa Cup of Nations said I agree with Ian Wright that it's being underrated. Yet you find that most of the players who are shining in the EPL have come to grace this tournament. You see, if a tournament like the Euros is being graced by the likes of De Bruyne, we have Salah on this other side. So it needs to be taken with the seriousness it deserves. And you find that this time round, we are seeing most of the African players playing abroad. That tells you something about the standards of football in Africa, that they're going up. And we're only looking for bigger things in the next one and the next one.
And for me, Ivory Coast, talking about Ivory Coast, I've put them in another tier. I would say a second tier. Them and Mali, they'll be the dark horses. And I know we used the dark horses term in the Euros, and it really tore us apart because we were mentioning Turkey as the dark horses, and they lost all games in the group stages. But this time round, with Ivory Coast and how it's looking.
Who is in your first tier if you're putting Ivory Coast in your second tier?
My first tier, as I mentioned, it has a group of 7 teams that I mentioned.
The former Greb.
But Ivory Coast has to be there.
No.
Well, for me, I don't think you can really compare them to the likes of Nigeria and Senegal and Cameroon in the same group with Ivory Coast. They're falling short a bit, but they're on their way up. That's why I put them in the same group with Mali, because they are nations that are coming on from their shadows and trying to get back to where they should be.
Let's finish off quickly with the Group F, where we've got Tunisia, Mali, Mauritania, and Gambia. And this is a group that screams Tunisia, Mali.
Definitely.
Definitely.
And for Tunisia, it's interesting because one player that has got people talking because they think he's gonna have another breakout kind of a time. Remember that Tunisia, they finished runners-up in the Arab Cup that they had in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia in the past few months. And one man that led them up was Hannibal Mejbri, the Manchester United kid.
Yes.
He's
in the squad actually.
Yes, he's in the squad together with the Wabi Kazris. And the other experienced guy in Elias Kiri, who plays in for FC Cologne in Germany, pretty good midfielder. They will be one of the teams to watch in this year. And remember, they finished
They've
fourth.
got also Wabi Kazi of Sunderland.
Of Sunderland.
Yeah, of Saint Etienne. He plays for Saint Etienne.
Yes.
In the division. He actually scored one of the best goals in the League One that you have seen. So you're looking at continuing from where they were. They finished fourth in the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. Maybe this is another opportunity now for them to build up and maybe finish in the top brackets.
Do you give Mali a chance in the group?
Yeah, Mali, I give them a chance of making it out of the group because you look at also they have
Bissouma.
They have Bissouma. They have a tight squad.
Yes.
A tight squad that has they are building something interesting. I remember they really performed in the under 23. They are doing very well.
Yes.
You see, you build your squad from the teenagers.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at them finishing maybe second to Tunisia and making it out of the group.
And I think if there was a country that was going to give lots of praise to Mali, is Kenya. Because we really suffered against these guys.
No, ours was shambles. We shouldn't have lost 5-0.
We gave them 6 goal
Six
advantage.
goals advantage.
Yes.
Yeah, you see,
Qualifiers.
even the 5-0 the other side,
Yeah.
that shouldn't have been the case.
Yeah, but it will be interesting to see what Musa Jenepo does to the team, because I remember he was mentioned a lot by Nick Mwendwa. It's his chance again to outclass everyone.
There's also Bissouma from Brighton, who's also on the side, and Kamara, Mohamed Kamara.
Yeah,
So,
from Salzburg, pretty young midfielder.
and you know, from back in the day when you look at Mali, even from the days of Stephen Kanute, they were a team that their players are not known.
Yeah, they don't
Till
have
they
the
get on to the field.
They don't have the hype and the big names.
Yes.
But when they come to the field, they play as a team.
Yes.
They are very complete as a team. And I think they've had a coach who's been there with them for quite some time.
Yes, he was in
he's
the
really
AFCON.
taken time with them, so he understands the team. He knows what he is looking for, and he's going to do better. He's going to get out of the group stages into the last 16.
Mauritania, I think, made their first time in
2019.
2019 was the first time they came on to the Africa Cup of Nations. Good succession plan. They also made it into this 2022 Africa Cup of Nations. But their stop will be in the group stage.
I think so. And I'm looking back at how they performed in the 2019 AFCON. They were a side that, you know, I don't know whether you've watched Norwich and you look at how they transition their play. They are so slow. They just seem not to create anything. And I think that was the issue with Mauritania last time. They didn't even score much goals. They were in the same group with Angola, if I can remember right.
Yes.
And their best chance of getting points was against Angola. They ended up drawing 0-0. They don't look like a side that will come out of these group stages. And then with Gambia, I think it's their debut into the Africa Cup of Nations.
Time,
Yeah, just for pride.
let them enjoy the tournament.
Let them enjoy the tournament.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at the tournament in totality, it tells us something about our country, Kenya. Because if you look at there are countries like Burkina Faso, we a few years ago we were able to defeat them, and they've gone back and rebuilt their squad, their top.
Yes.
So it's a challenge to us also. We can make it.
The thing is, just 1 minute and we finish this one. Who is your likely winner?
The African Cup of Nations.
Yes.
I put my money on Senegal and Morocco.
Sam?
If I were to choose one and make it interesting,
Yes.
Algeria,
Algeria.
back to back.
We'll keep that one and we'll come back to know how it pans out and know everything that is happening in that one. That's where we finish this segment of the Africa Cup of Nations Preview 2022. We'll be here to give you all the updates until February 9th when the final will be happening, to know who will clinch the 33rd trophy of this tournament. For now, let's go for a short commercial break where we enjoy the highlights of the Carabao Cup. When we come back, it will be the fan zone and what will be happening in January and the 2022 sports calendar.